You know, inner city living suits many of us just perfectly. Trendy cafes, cool restaurants, in a word, convenient. But there is another word that you need to take into consideration, and that is compromise. And it's generally on space. Over the years, I've shown you some really brilliant small space gardens, and I have another one for you today, but this one is just a little bit different. The idea for the last couple of decades has been to divide large spaces into small garden rooms. Now, the landscape designer has taken that same principle, but he's only got 55 square metres to work with. So what's he done? He's created these really small little garden pockets and some beautiful plant selection. Now, the great problem of landscaping these inner city terrace blocks, of course, is access. No, in this case, they were very lucky because they had a laneway that goes out into the street. It's enabled the creation of a really interesting little space. Firstly, the timber, it's in slats, it's actually a gate, but it looks like a fence, so it screens off this area. There's still light and interest and texture that's going on behind it as well. And then behind this wall here is a concrete reinforced brick wall. And yes, this is black bamboo. I know it's running bamboo, not clumping, but they've got a steel plate across the front and that brick retaining wall. So the black bamboo gives plenty of screening. So it's a great backdrop for the whole garden, not only this space here. Down on the ground, we've got the calathea for colour and texture. But the dominant tree in this whole landscape is this beautiful old silver birch. It's an original tree going back 30 or 40 years when they were very popular. There is a little bit of a problem because in this climate, they're very susceptible to humidity and to borer. And I suspect the long-term life of this tree is under a challenge. Screening from your neighbours in these narrow blocks in the city is always a drama. They've got the wires up for the bougainvillea from next door. Here, though, the problem, it's a raised deck. So, the designer has planted my favourite palm of all, Rufus palm. It's beautiful, and they're in troughs. Look at them. They're lush, green, and they look just as good from the inside looking out. To connect the house to the garden, there's a timber deck which just comes straight out, and then a series of timber landings all the way down into the garden. Now, normally you might have grass here, but there's too much shade and too much foot traffic, so they've gone for a hard paver. But another problem with areas like this in small inner city gardens, believe it or not, is drainage. So instead of concrete underneath these pavers, in fact, it's compressed sand. As well, they've got a really efficient little grate drainage system to capture that extra water. And this is a very personal spot, I reckon. And it's enclosed and really, really comfortable. But I just love the planting and the simplicity of all of this because it's not too challenging, but it's relaxing. So you've got the ubiquitous philodendron Xanadu, it's everywhere, but it's tough, tough, tough. Then the little running iris, the New Zealand Rangaranga lily, which is beaut, just simple and easy to look after. But of course, the ideas here would be as good in a small garden as there would be in a larger plot. I just love it.